Hey everybody. So today I have a training to do. Sorry, that's my face getting really big. The training is on what to do if you get lost in the community when you're with group and get separated, or what to do if somebody else gets lost in our group. Then you also, we all need to know what to do in those situations. So that's the training that we're going to do for today. And so I have my materials behind me, and we will get started on what to do. Okay, so I'm going to go over some questions, and then I'm going to answer them. If you have any questions about my answers, please feel free at any time to contact me and say, you weren't clear on this, or I'd like to know more about that, and such, because it is important that we're all on the same page. It is very frightening when either you're lost, especially from a group of people that you're supposed to be around, or somebody in your group gets lost. I mean, it happens to everyone at some point in their life. It seems like that, at least that I know. And it's good to know what to do in those situations. So I'm gonna read the question, then I will answer it. And again, like I said, if you have any questions after, please feel free to contact me and let me know, like, I want to know more about this. Okay. What is the most important thing that you can do and that people must do when going out into the community is what? And the most important thing is to stay with the group. That is the most important thing. I would say second is communication. You need to use the restroom, something like that, And third is the buddy system. Have somebody there with you. But number one is stay with your group. And let people know, but stay with the group. Second, before going out into the community at any time, a person should always first make sure he or she is carrying what item. We should always be carrying some form of identification, especially one with a picture and your address. If you don't have that, like a medical card would work, something with identifying information. And then what information can be found on this item? Well, it will say where you live. It'll give people your height. It'll kind of give a general outline, like, if you do get lost and you do find, say, a police officer or somebody, say, hey, I've got separated from my group, I need some help. It's good to have this. But like a medical card, what's good about that is sometimes it has some more pertinent information on it, like a phone number for somebody to call. And the program's phone number is always good to have and to know. So if you have your phone, you want that, but we should always be carrying our ID. That's very important. If you don't have that, people can't really verify who you are and that you are saying who you are. But it's really important to keep your ID on you and keep it safe. Keep it in a wallet and keep track of our wallets. Let's see, if you ever do become separated from your group, what should you always, which is in, what should you always do? And what you should always do is stay put. The more you wander off, the more lost you could actually become. It's going to be harder for people to find out, like, where you are. To, for a staff member to help find where you are, we're going to go back to the last place that we knew that you were. And so it's very important to stay put. Don't go wandering around like, it's not time to go get ice cream or anything like that. It's time to stay put and make sure that you're safe. And we don't want anyone to get more lost or missing. Should you go with a stranger who says he or she can help you find everyone else? Okay, that one's easy. No. The operative word is stranger. You don't know this person. You don't know what their agenda is. You don't know them from anything. You don't know what they're actually going to do. So what should you tell this stranger? Because you're supposed to stay in place. Say, I'm waiting for my group, or I'm waiting for, my staff member. I'm waiting. Don't worry about it. They're on their way. And you can let them know that somebody's on the way. And you should definitely let them know that somebody's on the way. And then again, remain where you are. If while on an outing, someone gets separated from the group and is lost, what should the rest of the group do? The rest of the group should stay together. That's what they should do. Stay together. Look around for the person in the general area. Ask questions of each other. Have you seen so-and-so? When did you see them? And then if some information comes out, then the group goes together and they go to find the person. Now, should the rest of the group split up and go looking for the missing person without telling the staff member? The answer to that is absolutely no. Absolutely no. Because then you've had one lost person that you're trying to look for. Now you have the potential of having several lost people, and everyone's out doing their own thing. That doesn't help anything. Because the main thing that happened in the first place is that somebody splintered off from the group. So it's not going to help to have a bunch of splinters and go off in their own places. That's not going to help anyone. Well, and communication is key here. So while on an outing, a person leaves the group to make a quick stop at a convenience store to buy a drink. Rather than going off by herself without informing anyone first, how could she have more safely handled this situation? Well, again, communication. So, somebody wants a drink, that's fine. There could be several people actually in the group that want to buy a drink. And that's fine, that's natural. I'm thirsty, I'd like to go buy a drink, I have the money and the time. But to not tell people is not safe. It creates a situation. It creates a situation that is difficult to handle for everyone. Because, you're going to go to a place by yourself and not really know everyone there. And say the group doesn't know. And they leave because you didn't tell anybody or they didn't tell anybody that this is what they wanted to go do. Then you've created a situation where you're lost. Again, communication is key. Just let people know. Like, I'd like to go here. Or say, hey, can me and so go buy a drink? And I think more often than not, staff are going to be just fine with that. I mean, just fine with it. Why is it not a good idea to wander away from your group when in the community or leave the program worksite without telling anyone? Well, again, because you could go missing. And life is full of unpredictable situations, and going off into the unknown by yourself is an unpredictable situation. You know, we tend to do things that we know that are safe when we just decide to leave and do our own thing. You're putting yourself in a predicament that you might not be able to get yourself out of. And, it's important that we don't put ourselves in that situation, especially when we're in a group setting, because there are a lot of people who care about each and every one of us. And when we find out that that person is missing, or isn't talking to staff, or isn't talking to each other, it's concerning, because it's like, why wouldn't you tell me? Like, I'd like to know, and especially if something happened. It's a difficult situation for people to process. So it's easier to just tell someone where you're going than it is to just leave and do what you feel like you're going to go do. All right, next page. Okay, so this is more about carrying an ID and emergency contact information. So you want to make sure that somebody always has, we all want to make sure that we all are carrying identifying information. I mean, like all the staff at Inroads, what we have to do is, without our driver's license, we can't even drive. We need that information. It's important to keep hold of that information. It's important for everyone to keep hold of that information. You don't know when you're going to need it, but it's better to have it and not need it than need it and not have it. And so, so sometimes you have to ask yourself, how often do you carry your ID in your wallet? And I would hope everybody would say, I do. That I do every day. Why is it important to have ID with you every time you leave home? Police officers don't know where everyone lives. If you were hurt, police would look in your wallet to see where you live. If you don't have ID, police won't know where you live or whom to help or contact you. And if you happen to not know your phone number or address clearly, it's going to be very difficult for the police officer to identify where you live and how to help. Is your ID locked up somewhere in your home? You should have your ID with you every time you go out into the community. Tell the people you live with if you need it, if you're going out in case you get lost or injured. Again, worst case scenario, you fall down, you're lost, panic, and somebody hits their head, and an ambulance arrives. Well, they need to know your information. They need to know your last name. They need to know your address. They can identify who you are and contact your family. If you have an ID card, they can contact the program directly. And these are all good things to have. And does anyone in the group, in program, know the phone number of someone who could help you get it, who could help you in case you get lost or injured? So sometimes it's hard to remember a phone number, so it's important to keep a piece of paper in a wallet for a phone number. So if it does get lost, like, it is important to have information for someone. I hope that, and another way of doing this is your cell phone. Say you say, I don't remember the phone number, but I do have it here in my phone. Let me show you. Like, if something happened. But again, not a stranger. You want to go to somebody who's an officer of the law, medical person, like an EMT. That, then it's all right to give out your information. But, but to have an ID or something, it's best. But it's also good to have it. You need phone numbers. Phone numbers are very important. And to keep some in your wallet, just the most important, are very good to have. What if you got separated from staff and your group went on an outing or at a place you're not familiar with, couldn't find each other? What would you do? So you can always go up to a police officer and say, I'm lost. I don't know exactly where I am. It's my first time here, and I want to make sure I get back home safe. Can you help me? But again, it needs to be someone official, like a police officer. Not anyone, a police officer. And have them help you with that. Has anyone ever been lost? What did you do? Did someone help you? When I was a kid, I think we've all been lost at some point or another. When I was a kid, I got lost. It was during the 4th of July. I got separated from my family, and we're all at a park to watch the fireworks. And I'm like, my mom tells me this story because I don't remember it. So it must be deeply ingrained, and that's one of those things, is that we have to make it part of ourselves to know what to do in these situations. And I went to a police officer. I said, this is my name. I can't find my mom. And the good thing is that the police officer, as they were taking down my information, my parents found me. And so they're like, get over here. Thank you so much, officer. Like, how did you get lost? And, I think I said I could go to the bathroom by myself, and really I should have taken a buddy. Again, buddy system. But I think at some point everybody's been lost or at least been confused in certain situations. So it's good to know who to trust and also who not to trust. Don't get in a vehicle with anybody you don't know. But officers of the law, they're definitely there to keep the peace. Okay, yeah, it's good to know. Who are 3 people who you could call if you were lost or needed help? Staff and program. A supervisor at work, family, staff in a group home, case manager, ILS worker. And if none of these work, then obviously you can call the police. Who is it okay to show your ID to? And it's okay to show your ID to police or a security guard if he or she is going to help you. Sometimes you have to show your ID for a bus, to a bus driver, or at the doctor's office. Sometimes the store clerk might ask to see your ID if you're paying with a credit card. No one else really needs to see your ID. In fact, it could be dangerous to show other people, strangers, other people or strangers, your ID. Someone could see where you live and might try to hurt you. Now, I don't know people, they could try to hurt you. It's possible. In one form or another. It could be directly by knowing where you live. It could also be financially, they could hurt you. So it's best to only tell people such as police officers, security guards, EMT. If an ambulance shows up and they need an ID because it's a medical risk, that's another person that you can trust. But again, it's very limited. First, try all your other people that you trust and that you know. So, safety in the community. Keeping your personal information to yourself. So, again, this is more in depth on who it's okay to show your ID to discuss your own personal information, be it a medical, like if you have a medical bracelet or things like that. It's good to answer these questions. Should you give strangers your personal information, like your name, to strangers? If you tell someone your name, there are a lot of places they can go to get more information about you. So, though we want to trust people, it's best to trust those that we already know are trustworthy, especially in a situation where somebody's missing or possibly lost. So would you tell a stranger your name? No. I've seen it from other individuals at program in various forms, but I don't know you. That is a fine response. It brushes the person off. They know this is not a person to fuss with. Also, they're not about to give up any information, so I don't know you. Who we do know are people that are paid to do this, such as police officers. Should you tell a stranger where you live? No, because they might come to your house. And you don't know who everyone is. So no, don't tell any strangers that information. Should you tell a stranger where you are going? No. Again, back with if you are lost, just say I'm waiting for friends, waiting for my group, just waiting. You don't need to give them information about the program. You don't need to give them any personal information. If they start to ask more questions, say, I don't. You're making me feel uncomfortable. And you can always go find somebody else to talk to, like a police officer. What if it's someone you see at the bus stop every day? Okay, that's something that it can be difficult, but no, you shouldn't trust somebody that you see every day. Just because you know one route from, where they get on a bus and possibly where they get off the bus, well, they might know the same about you. It doesn't mean they're a trustworthy person. It doesn't mean they're somebody you should be giving personal information to. Again, it needs to be a responsible person. Someone you can trust. What if you see the same person over and over and she smiles at you every day? Is that person your friend? Again, you don't know this person. He or she might not be a friend. He or she might look nice, but it doesn't mean the person is nice. We all have things that we deal with, and we want to assume that people are all really nice, good people. But when it comes to sharing information personally about ourselves, it's best to only share it with those that we trust, that we know. Because we don't know the intentions of anyone else. You know your intentions in life. You might know kind of what your friends' intentions are, but even that sometimes varies. So a perfect stranger is someone really you don't know anything about. So it's best to remain safe and err on the side of caution. All right. Last one. It falls to the floor. Recovered safely, though. What could you do if a stranger asks you for your personal information? Ignore them? Walk or roll away? You could say, I don't answer personal questions. You can say, I don't know you. If a stranger keeps bothering you, did you know you don't have to be nice to that person? You can say, leave me alone. I'm going to tell someone to help me along. I'm going to put on my mean, strong face and use my mean, strong voice. I'm going to say it loud right now in practice, so leave me alone. Don't be so scared. I'm going to say, leave me alone. Put my hand out and say, leave me alone. And it's something that you should practice. Leave me alone. But you have to be confident in your voice. And, the more other people hear, the more you draw attention, the more that person's not going to want to be part of that situation anymore. They're going to want to leave. Because they're like, well, why are you bothering this person? And they're asking you to leave them alone, so leave them alone. Some of us wear name tags at work. Sorry. Should we leave our name tags on when we're waiting for the bus or riding the bus? No. Name tags are for at work. Just like you wouldn't have your ID right on you. You shouldn't unless you really have to. Which, there are some situations where that might be the case. But no, it's for work. Put it away because people, again, they can see your name, they can see where you work, they can get a lot of information from that. What about money? Should we talk to strangers about money? No. No. Strangers don't need to know about money. Our money is our personal information. Beyond just strangers, staff don't need to know about your money. Unless it's really pertinent and you're like, I need help with this, and you've asked for help, staff should never ask you questions about your money either. So should you share it with a perfect stranger? No. But you should also not share it with staff members. You shouldn't share it with pretty much anyone but your own family. Unless you really need help with it and you really trust what's going on. But no, you definitely never with a stranger. No. Money. I mean, people's eyes perk up when they hear money. They're, oh, man, they're talking about money. And that's a bad thing. What can we tell a stranger who asks us about our money? You can say, I don't answer personal questions. I don't know you. Leave me alone. None of your business. Yeah, none of your business. That's personal. It really isn't any of your business. Is it okay to give personal information to a police officer? It is okay. But you need to make sure that they're a police officer. I mean, it's against the law to impersonate an officer of the law. But there's a reason for that law, and that is because people actually do it. And that's kind of sad. But it's scary, really. But make sure they're an actual cop. And how do you find out? You ask them for their identification. Make sure that you know for sure that they're an actual police officer. Say, I'm in a tough situation, and don't be personal, but be honest. Say, I'm lost. I need help. You're an officer of the law. How can you help me? And really, they should help you get the information that you need. But make sure that they're a police officer. Remember what you look for to tell someone if there's a badge, patches, and police ID. So, that's what you need to do when you're out in the community and you're lost or someone else is lost. This is what we all need to know, is that we have to keep each other safe. And number one, you need to keep yourself safe. And most of the time, the easiest way is just by don't break off from the group, communicate, let people know where you are. But in dire situations, there are certain people that you can go to. And again, having information, identifying information, like an ID card, something with somebody else's phone number, especially if you don't remember your own, or making sure you have your phone on. But you can always contact staff, but we should always have program's number, your staff member's number, and then you should be able to call 911 if you really need, if you have your phone, if you have a phone. If not, you need to be careful out there. Carry ID, identifying information. Let's keep everybody safe at program, because we all care about each other. And that's the bottom line for all of these trainings, is that we care about each other and we go over it to make sure that we're all safe. Anyway, I hope this was helpful, and I know it was long, and it's a long time to hear me talk. But again, if you have any questions, concerns, comments, let me know anytime, and I'm happy to answer any of your questions. Okay, ciao for now. Bye, everybody.